Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Beitzah Daf Daled. We begin 16 lines from the top of the Amud. Now before we continue, perhaps let's do a quick refresher of the last 2 days, which will enable us to go right into the next sugya. We learned about an egg which was laid on Yom Tov, where according to Beis Shammai, it's mutar la'achila. According to Beis Hillel, it is asur la'achila. We had several reasons, several options of how to explain this machlekes. We could be speaking either about a tarnagolis, a hen which was intended for egg production, for commercial purposes, not intended for consumption, for achila, in which case the tarnagolis itself is muktzah, and likewise its offspring, the egg which it laid on Yom Tov, is muktzah as well. That would be one approach to explain shitas Beis Hillel, why the egg is muktzah and unfit for achila. It's asur because it's muktzah. The other option would be, we're speaking about a tarnagolis which was meant la'achila, intended for consumption. There's no muktzah issue. What then is the concern with its egg? We have several options, either because of hachana. This was Rabba's chiddush. A Shabbos or Yom Tov meal need to be prepared in advance during a weekday. An egg born on Yom Tov is technically prepared the previous day, because if it's laid today, that means it was developed yesterday. We're concerned about a Yom Tov falling out on Sunday, in which case the egg laid on Sunday, Yom Tov, would have been developed yesterday on Shabbos, and therefore it was prepared improperly on Shabbos, on a Yom Kaddish, and cannot be eaten the following day. So that's the din of achana. We call it achana de Rabba because this was introduced by Rabba. There's another couple of pshatim that we had yesterday. Gzeiras de Rabbanon. The egg laid by a hen resembles fruit falling off a tree on Yom Tov, in which case it's asur because you might go up and pick that fruit. So the fruit and the egg in this case is asur on that day. Another pshat was, it resembles juice flowing out of fruit. Mashkin shezavel. The issue there is because you might go ahead and be tempted to squeeze that fruit and do a malach. So in short, either we're speaking about a hen which was intended for egg production, that in itself makes it muktzah, in which case it's egg as well as muktzah, or we're speaking about a tarnagolis imedas lachil intended for consumption. There's no muktzah issue. Perhaps there's a achana issue because the egg laid on Yom Tov was prepared yesterday on Shabbos, in which case it's not mutar la'achila on Yom Tov. Or we're concerned about the fact that it resembles a fruit off a tree or juice out of a fruit. Continues the Gemara 16 lines from the top of the Amud. Tanya, we learned in the Beitzah, Acherim oimrim mishum Rabbi Lezer. Acherim, this is generally a term for Rabbi Meir, quote Rabbi Lezer as follows: Beitzah, an egg laid on Yom Tov, no problem. Not only the egg can be eaten on that day, its mother can be eaten as well. Now, why this elaborate description? Egg and mother. Just speak about the egg. But my askinan, what type of hen are we speaking about? A chicken intended for achila, which case there's no muktzah concern at all. What other concern could there be? Hachana, mashkin shezavu, peiros hanoishrin. Well, apparently, Rabbi Lezer holds that there are no such isurim applied to the hen, to the chick, to the egg. Apparently he's following the other shita, Beis Shammai, right? Beis Shammai don't apply any of these halachas, any of these concerns, any of these isur. Right? The whole discussion was Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai say the egg can be eaten. If that's the case, then why discuss the egg and the mother? Pshita, of course, the hivi imashaya. The egg and the mother would be mutter. Meaning, if you're just trying to say that the halacha follows Beis Shammai, say the egg is mutter. What do you have to elaborate and say the egg and the mother? Apparently he's trying to tell us a chiddush that was speaking about a egg laid by a hen which was designated for egg production. And we say everything is mutter, but that's incorrect. Hivi asura. Who's speaking? Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer holds of muktzah. He holds that muktzah applies in this case. He holds that things have to be prepared in advance. A hen intended for egg production was not prepared for achilas Yom Tov, and neither was the egg which emanated from that hen. It's muktzah. So how can Rabbi Yehuda say it's mutter ba'achila? So what did he mean when he said the egg and the mother are mutter? Omar Abzera, you know what he meant? Ti'achal agav ima. We have a case where the only justification, the only allowance, the only reason why we allow the achila of the egg is because of the mother. If you eat the mother, that allows you to eat the egg. How's that? Hechidami, how's that? Omar Abai, let's say you purchased the hen without any specific intention, any specific plan. We're not sure if it's going to be eaten, it's going to be used for egg production. So it's a suffix muktzah. So we take a look at what he's going to do on Yom Tov. Nishchata, if he shechts the mother, it's been determined right now, retroactively, that this thing was intended la'achila, in which case the egg is mutter, because it's a chip off the block, it's a slice off the loaf, it's food coming from a food. If the tarnagolos was not shechted on Yom Tov, it's been established and determined retroactively. This is the halacha of breira. The legadol beitzah mebedes, apparently it was meant for egg production. So the fact that you're going to shecht or not shecht on Yom Tov, that will determine the status of the mother and, by extension, the egg as well. That's what Rabbi Yehuda meant in this specific scenario where it was undefined, unspecified. We have to wait and see what he's going to do with the tarnagolos, and based on that, we'll know the halacha of the egg as well. Rav Mari Amar Guzma Katani. We're speaking about a tarnagolos which was purchased la'achila. There's no muktzah concerns. What about the other halachas, hachana, all that? Rav Yehuda doesn't hold of Beis Hillel that it's asur. He follows Beis Shammai. The question was, then why make any reference to the mother? Just say the egg is mutter. Guzma Katani was just elaborating for emphasis purposes. That's just a mode of speech. Es gesundheit, the egg is mutter, the mother's mutter, there's no concerns. I halak Beis Shammai. The Sani, in fact, we find in the following Beitzah that Rabbi Yehuda does speak in that manner. Guzma. Acherim oimrim mishum Beitzah, this egg laid on Yom Tov, te'achal hive imon. That was the first thing. And then we see further that he elaborates for emphasis purposes. He added another halacha. You can eat a chick perhaps born on Yom Tov, ukli pasay, with its shell. Those are the words of the Beitzah. What do you mean, makli pasay? What do you mean, the shell? It's an edible. Ile maklipa mamish, the actual shell. He's going to eat the shell. Klipa basachile. Since when do we eat shells? It's an edible. Ela frech bekli pasay. Oh, perhaps he meant to be mata the chick within its shell, the unhatched chick. Well, that wouldn't work. That would be asur. Ad kan loy pligi rabbanon. Olei der Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Later on, the Masechta is going to be machlekes regarding a newly hatched chick which hadn't yet opened its eyes. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says it's asur. Learns from a pasuk. Rabbanon say it's mutter. But that's only once it's hatched. So Rabbanan are disagreeing only Elahecha the Yatza La'avir Olam, when it came out to the world, it was hatched. But if it's unhatched, it's still inside its shell, of course it's still asur. So how could you say the chick is mutter in its shell? Apparently all Rabbi Yehuda meant to say is as follows. A chick hatched on Yom Tov is mutter with its shell, and he was just elaborating for emphasis purposes. It's just an exaggerated way of speaking. He meant to say the chick is mutter, no problem. The chick with its shell. He's just trying to bring out a point. Hachanami here as well, when it comes to the egg laid on Yom Tov, that's all he's trying to do. He's trying to make a point. His focus was on the egg. There's no concern. It's an egg coming from a chicken which was meant la'achila. There's no muktzah. What about the other gzeros? I don't subscribe to Beis Hillel's concerns. I follow Beis Shammai. The egg is mutter, and the entire system, the egg, the mother, don't worry about it. So it's just a way of bringing out his point. Continues the Gemara. What about an egg laid on Shabbos in advance of Yom Tov, which is on Sunday? Can you have that egg the next day? Itmar. We learned it in Beis Medrash. What about Shabbos v'Yom Tov? So you have Shabbos right next to Yom Tov. Shabbos and then Sunday Yom Tov. Or Rashi says if you have Yom Tov Friday and Shabbos following. Either way, Shabbos and Yom Tov in close proximity. Rav Amar, no the bezeh asura bezeh. An egg laid on one day is asur on the next day. So it was laid on Shabbos, asur on Sunday Yom Tov. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, no the bezeh muteras bezeh. Even if it was laid on Shabbos, you can use it the next day, even though it's Yom Tov. How do we understand this machlekes? Perhaps, says the Gemara, let's propose the following proposal. Neima kasava Rav kedusha achasi. The fact that Rav says laid on one day is also on the next day is based on the fact that he views Shabbos and the Yom Tov next to it as one continuous kedusha, although physically it's two separate days. But it's one zman, it's one kedusha, one continuous entity, in which case, if it was asr on one day, the isser continues into the next day. How could you say that? Rav himself told us in Gemara Erevin that's not so. Halacha kabar zakenim. Halacha follows the four elders. Valib the Rebelezer, in line with Rebelezer's shita, the Amar Shtei Kedusha say. Shabbos and Yom Tov are two separate entities. They're not linked to each other. Let's go down to Rashi at the wide lines. First wide line, Kedusha achasi. Harihen ki yom echad aruch. The Gemara is proposing that perhaps Shabbos and Yom Tov situated next to each other, considered one continuous entity. Again, obviously it's 2 days, but as far as the spiritual reality here, in the spiritual realm of things, it's one zman, it's one continuous kedusha. We're going to have this on Amud Beis as well when it comes to 2 days Yom Tov that we observe in Golos and Chutz La'aretz. There's a tzad in the Gemara that's considered one kedusha. Again, what does that mean? We treat it as one single entity, one continuous zman of Yom Tov of kedusha. But when it comes to Shabbos and Yom Tov, it can't be, says the Gemara. Says Rashi, Arbo Zakenim, I'll leave it Rebelezer, Be'ervin Perikal Arvin, the Amar Shtei Kedusha Sein. What's an afkamina? Uma'arav liyoim echad lemizrach l'sheni lemarav. So you can make it erev to Chumin in one direction for the first day, and to the other direction on the second day, because there's two separate entities, two separate kedushas. So let's get back to the Gemara. So knowing that, why then is the egg also on the second day? Let's say the isser is because it resembles a fallen fruit, resembles juice coming out of a fruit. Well, that's only also on that day. You might pick, you might squeeze. The next day it's mutter. So it was laid on Shabbos, and the next day is Yom Tov. Should mutter the next day. So why does Rav say asr? Ella says the more rather, you know what the machlekes is based on? Remember, there was another reason, another option to explain the isr of the egg laid on Yom Tov, Rabbah, which was that when it's laid today, it was prepared and finished and completed yesterday. We're concerned that Yom Tov might follow Shabbos, in which case it was prepared yesterday on Shabbos, and it can't be eaten on Yom Tov. And that's the point of machlekes here. What is the reason for the isser of the egg laid on Yom Tov? What's the reason of Beis Hillel? Rav says, because of Achana de Rabbah. And therefore, when it was laid on Shabbos, you can't have it the next day, which is Yom Tov, because who produced this egg for you? Shabbos did. It was laid on Shabbos, produced on Shabbos. It was prepared during a non-weekday. You can't have it the next day on Yom Tov. What Rabbi Yochanan says, that's not the reason why the Beitzah Shenol de B'Yom Tov is us. I don't hold of Rabbah's din of Achana. You may remember that yesterday as well. Rabbi Yehuda tells us the reason is because of Mashkin Shazavu, because it resembles juice flowing out of apples. That's only Issa for that day. You might squeeze. That's that day. But if it was late on Shabbos, you can have it the next, even though it's Yom Tov. The Issa expires once the day is over. And that's the point of Machlekes. The question is whether we subscribe to Rab's din of Achana. Rab holds of Rab, therefore the egg produced on Shabbos, the egg laid on Shabbos cannot be used the next day Yom Tov, because it was produced on a non-weekday. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler de Rab. Rabbi doesn't hold of Achana de Rab. You know why the egg laid on Yom Tov is also? It's not because of the din of Achana, because of the other reasons. that it resembles juice flowing out of fruit, in which case you might go and squeeze that fruit. It's only a one-day Isser. When Shabbos is over, you can have it even though it's Yom Tov. Ketanai. As we find the same discussion in the next Beitzah, no the b'Shabbos te'echel b'Yom Tov. An egg which was laid on Shabbos can be eaten the following day Yom Tov. Or in the reverse, b'Yom Tov, it was laid on Yom Tov te'echel b'Shabbos, it can be consumed the following day Shabbos. Why? The Isser is because of Mashkin Shazavu, Peres HaNoishrin. It's only a one-day Isser. It expires once the day is over. Rabbi Yehuda Eimer, Mishum Rabbi Lezer? No. Adayini Machloikes. Even in this case, we apply the same Machloikes that we had in the Mishnah. Shebesham Oimrim Te'achel. According to Besham, you're fine. Ubesil Oimrim Loi Te'achel. Besil say you cannot eat it because the reason for the Isser is Hachana de Rabbah. And since this egg was laid on a Yom Kaddish, you cannot eat it on the following day, which happens also to be a Yom Kaddish, because the Suda of Shabbos or Yom Tov has to be prepared during a weekday, which you don't have in this case. So bottom line is, when the egg was laid on Yom Tov and you want to eat it today, well, of course, according to Beis Hillel, it's Asa. For whatever reason, Moktzah, Chana, Mashkin Shazavo, Perish, there are 4 reasons. Question is regarding eating it the next day, laid on Shabbos, and tomorrow's Sunday Yom Tov. According to Rav, you cannot eat it, because Hachana de Rabbah is the reason for the Isser, which applies in this case. It was laid on Shabbos, developed and produced on Shabbos. You can't have that on Yom Tov. Rabbi Yehuda says it's mutar l'kuli yama, because the reason for the Isser of the egg is nothing to do with Hachana de Rabbah. It's because of Mashkin Shazavu, and that's only on that day, not on the following day. We had a story involving the host of Rav Ada, Ushpiz Chnei Rav Ada bar Ava. He was the fellow who hosted Rav Ada bar Ava. And he had a shaila. He had a question. Havalei hanach beitzim. He had these eggs, Yom Tov Shabbos, which were laid on Yom Tov, and the following day was Shabbos. He wanted to know whether he can consume it on the second day. So he came to Rav Ada bar Ava with a shaila. Amarle, he asked him, can I roast these eggs today? Today's Yom Tov, and have them tomorrow on Shabbos. Amalei, Sir Rav Ada bar Ava responds, my daitach, what are you thinking? Meaning, where are you coming from? Why would you think it's mutar? Because when we have a machlokes between Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, halacha Rabbi Yochanan, that's the formula. Halacha follows Rabbi Yochanan. So perhaps you can have it on the following day, like Rabbi Yochanan. Afilu Rabbi Yochanan like a shari. I want to tell you something. Even Rabbi Yehuda only allows you to swallow it raw on the second day. Meaning, sure, you can consume it on the second day, no problem. Gesundheit. But you can't do anything today. Today it's off limits. Today is the day of the laying. You can't eat it. You can't even remove it. It's totally mukta. It's like a useless item. Right? When a food item can't be consumed, it's like a pebble, like a stone. It can't be eaten. It's worthless. So you can't even move it. Of course you can't roast it today. You want to eat it tomorrow? Go ahead. Want to follow Rabbi Yehuda? Sure. But Rabbi Yehuda never allowed you to handle it on the day that it was laid. Today it's Aser. It's Aser b'achila and it becomes Muktzah. Vatani, as we learned in the Beitzah yesterday, Achas Beitzah shenoda b'Shabbos. Whether the egg was laid on Shabbos, Achas Beitzah shenoda b'Yom Tov, or laid on Yom Tov. Since the egg is Aser b'achila, it's Muktzah as well. Ein metalton, so it can't be moved. Lo l'chasas b'os hakli, whether to use it to cover a kli. V'lo l'ismach b'karamita, to support your bed. It's Muktzah, off limits. Ushbiz chnei Rav Papa, the fellow who hosted Rav Papa, he had a shaila. V'amrila, some had a different version of the story. Hahu Gavra, there was this fellow, the also came to Rav Papa. So it was a random person, came to Rav Papa with a shaila. Havulei hanach beitzim, he had a similar shaila with eggs. Mishabbos l'Yom Tov, that were laid on Shabbos, and he'd like to know whether he can have it tomorrow. Sunday's Yom Tov, is it mutar or not on the following day? Also, he came to Rav Papa with a shaila. Amalei, ma'u l'mechlinu l'macha, can I have them tomorrow? Amalei, so Rav Papa says, you know what? It's not a good time. Zil ha'idna, go now. V'sol l'macha, come back tomorrow. I'm after my meal. I drank wine. I'm a little bit hazy. I'm not qualified to ishru up psak halacha. as we find that the Rav Leimuki Amor Eloi, he wouldn't position his announcer in front of him, meaning he would not give his shir, give his drasha, which contained piskei halacha. He wouldn't get involved in that. Between one Yom Tov and the other, meaning after he celebrated Suda Simchas Yom Tov with wine, he would abstain from issuing piskei halacha mishum shichrus, due to intoxication. So please go and come back tomorrow after my Suda Shabbos. I'm not really fit to render any halachic ruling. Let's go to Rashi, 3 lines from the bottom. V'atanya siyata, the Rav Lemuki Amar Eliyah. He didn't have this meturgman, this announcer, standing before him, lidrash drasha l'rabim, to allow him to give the drasha. Once he celebrated Yom Tov, after the Suda Admachar, he would take a time out from ruling on halachis. Mishum shichrus, the Rab Eirui have a moira b'darsha shaloi. The Gemara says that Rab in his drasha would offer piskei halacha, and not allowed to do that when you're hazy. V'shikur asa lahiris achsiv yain v'sheich al teish. Uksiv lahiris is bnei Yisrael. So we learned that even a hayra to issue a psak halacha cannot be done when one is even slightly intoxicated. So come back tomorrow. I'll address your shaila. Ki asa lamacha, continues the Gemara on the bottom line. Ki asa lamacha, when he returned the next day, Amr Rav Papa responded, you know what? It's a good thing you didn't insist on the halacha yesterday. It's a good thing you had patience. Ichu. If only hashta now, meaning if I would have proceeded giving you a halacha yesterday, I would have made a mistake. Ishalai, I would have totally forgotten the right halacha. You know what I would have told you? I'm assuming I would have told you, va'amrilach, I would have said that when we have machlokes between Rav Rabbi Yochanan, right, that was our discussion, Rav Rabbi Yochanan, halacha is Rabbi Yochanan, right, so that's the general formula. And I would have allowed you to have the eggs the following day, but that would have been incorrect. Because Rav already tells us that generally we follow Rabbi Yehuda except for these cases. When it comes to these things, we follow Rav. Bahane Klas. In the following 3 things, we follow Rav's Shita. Bein L'Kula, Bein L'Chumer, whether it results in a leniency or a stringency. And one of these 3 things is our case. Egg laid today, can it be used tomorrow? Egg laid on Shabbos, can it be used on Yom Tov, or vice versa? We follow Rav. It's Aser because Rav is based on Achana the Rabbah. It was prepared during a Yom Kaddish and cannot be eaten on another Yom Kaddish. Good thing you had patience, because I would have issued the wrong halacha. But now that I see with clarity, this is the correct approach. The eggs are Aser. Rabbi Yechanan, says Rabbi Yechanan, although I'm the one who tells that an egg laid today is mutter tomorrow, but we have an exception to that rule. Eitzim, Shana Shuman Adekel B'Shabbos. Branches that came off the palm tree on Shabbos. So it's like the fruit off the tree. You can't have anah from it, because you might go up and pick that fruit. You might go cut branches. So also l'asikam b'yom tov. Not only can't you use it today on Shabbos, you can't even use it on the following day, which happens to be Yom Tov. 1 second. I'm contradicting myself. Valta shiveni Beitzah. Don't come challenge me with the halacha of Beitzah, where I myself said that the halacha is limited to the first day, but on the second day it's mutter. My time, there's a big difference. You know why? By the egg I allow, but I ate some not, because by the firewood it might lead to confusion. Look, Beitzah, by the egg, I allow it to be used on the following day, which is Yom Tov. Because in reality, you can partake in this egg on the first day. The egg was laid on Shabbos. Tomorrow's Yom Tov. Technically, you can eat a raw egg if you're really desperate, right? So the egg is accessible, but we don't allow it, right? It's asur achila, it's muktzah, but we don't allow it until tomorrow. That serves to highlight that it's asur on the first day. It makes it clear that day 1 is asur, day 2 is mutter. Otherwise, why didn't you have it the first day? Why didn't you swallow it raw? Everybody will know the bas yoima asra, that on the day that it was laid, it's asr. The fact that we prohibit it on the first day, that serves to drive home that point, and therefore, says Rabbi Yehuda, I could afford being matir on the second day, it won't lead to confusion. Everybody will know clearly that it's mutter on the second day, but still us on the first day. The fact that I didn't allow it on the first day, although technically it was edible. That's by the egg. That's why it's mutter on the second day. As opposed to eitzim, this firewood, I'm not going to allow it even on the second day. You know why? People might think that it's mutter on the first day too. But this firewood that came crashing off the tree on Shabbos, it's not roy on Shabbos, so practically you simply can't access it. You can't light it on Shabbos. So people might think that was the reason why you didn't partake in the first day, because you simply can't. If I'm going to allow to use the next day on Yom Tov, people will think, mistakenly think, that really really on the first day it's mutter as well. Suppose the first day would have been Yom Tov. You could use it on the first day too. Look, you use it on the second day, which is Yom Tov. Why not on the first day? They won't differentiate. They'll say, well, you know why in this case you couldn't use it on the first day? Because it happened to be Shabbos. Technical problem. But theoretically, if it would have been Yom Tov on the first day, it would have been mutter on the first day, and that's incorrect. That's very, very incorrect, because something falling off a tree on Yom Tov is asur. It's like the mashkin shazab, it's like the perish shenashu menayila. Probably like the perish shenashu, because it's off the tree. You might go and chop off those branches. In any case, there's maybe muktzah as well. Whatever it is, it's us on the first day. So the difference is Rabbi Yehuda. That's the difference between an egg, which I allow on the second day, and a firewood, which I don't allow. Identical cases. The egg was laid on Shabbos, and I allow it to be eaten on Yom Tov the following day. As opposed to firewood, which was nashar min hadekel b'Shabbos, I don't allow it to be used on the following day, Yom Tov. Because by the egg, the fact that I don't allow its use on the first day serves to bring out a point that it's us on the first day. So even if I allow it on the second day, it won't come to confusion. As opposed to firewood, people might think, well, if I allow it on the second day, Yom Tov, technically it's allowed on the first day too, if it would happen to be Yom Tov. In this case, you happen not to be able to access it because it's Shabbos. So it's going to create confusion. Therefore, says Rabbi Yehuda, firewood off a tree on Shabbos is asur even on the following day, Yom Tov. Another lacha regarding firewood, Amar Masna. This time we have a heter, a big chiddush. Eitzim shenashu ben hadekel otech taner b'Yom Tov. Suppose this fellow is lucky, he finds some palm branches right in his oven. So the branches came right off the tree into his stove on Yom Tov. It's asur, it's muktzah. Could you use the stove? Yeah. Mar ba'aleim eitzim muchanan. He takes prepared wood, more than the muktzah. Mar ba'aleim eitzim muchanan masik, and he lights it all together. So it's batal b'roiv. V'hakam ha'apach b'yisura. What do you mean? He's going to be turning over the firewood manually, be touching muktzah. Kivan deruba deteir ninu, since most of it is heter. Kika mahapech, when he stokes his flames, beteir kamahapech. Technically, it's considered like he's doing it beheter because the isur is batal b'roiv. How can you do this? Deliberately be mavatal isur? You're not allowed to do that. How could he add prepared firewood and be mavatal the isur? It's not ein mavatal an isur l'chatchila. You're not to do that. How do you believe with deraisa? That's only when it's an isur deraisa, such as tevel, truma, aval b'derabbanan. But over here, where it's only derabbanan, it's only a firewood off a tree, it's muktzah. Bevatlan, we allow you to do bittul, even l'chatchil. What about Rav Ashi who told us yesterday? Something which is a limited time isser, such as this firewood, which is only isser on that day. Even if it's only isser d'rabban, such as in this case, it's not going to be batal b'roiv. Why take a chance? Wait until it's mutter. Wait until tomorrow. We don't want you to start treating Isurim lightly. We want you to take Isurim seriously. Therefore, the Chum say something which has a heter option down the road. Wait until it becomes mutter. So in this case, the firewood is a limited time Isser. It's going to be mutter tonight, after Yom Tov. It can't be batal. Michael Ameimar. So how can this work? That's only heicha de isay l'isur be'enei. When do we say davar sheish l'matirin is not batal? When the isur is intact. We don't want you to disregard isurim. We don't want you to treat isurim lightly. And therefore we say, you know what? If you can have it beheter tomorrow, why take a chance and be mavatal it? In which case, every item in this mixture is a suffix isur. It's going to create a zilzal. People are going to start taking isurim lightly. Which person would go ahead and take a risk when he could do it without a risk, right? If you have a non-risk investment and a risky investment, of course you take the non-risk investment. Common sense. So when it comes to isur, a person might say, look, I'm taking an isur which can be mutter tomorrow, and I'm allowing it to be eaten because it was batal. Taking a chance. So although minatur, it's really batal, makes it mutter, but it's going to create the wrong impression in the eyes of people. It's going to lead them to take isurim, to treat isurim lightly with less sincerity and less seriousness. But that's only when the isur is here, so it's visible. Hacha mikl kali isur, as opposed to the firewood, where when you're enjoying the firewood, it's already over, it's already burnt through, it's just coals. So the isur is not here, and this concern doesn't apply. Okay, so we have two halachas regarding firewood. One was a chiddush of Rabbi Yehuda, that in contrast to the egg, which was laid on Shabbos, we allow it to be eaten on the following day, Yom Tov. The firewood doesn't have that allowance because it might lead to confusion and it might lead to it being used the first day on Yom Tov as well. Rav Masa said a great chiddush. Firewood, which is muktzah, can be batal, and you could manually be mavatal it with eitzim of heter, no concern of mavatal istachat chila, no concern of davar sheish matirin. Go ahead and use your stove. Itma, we learned in the base medrash the following halacha. Shnei yamim tovim shel galius. What about an egg laid on Yom Tov shel galius? So on Chutz La'aretz we keep 2 days Sukkos, 2 days Pesach, 2 days Shavuos. So an egg was laid on the first day. Can it be eaten on the second day? Rav Amar, no, there was a muteres b'zeh. Egg laid on the first day of Yom Tov Sheni shel galius can be eaten on the second day of Yom Tov shel galius. Rava Asi Amar, no, there was a asura b'zeh. Even the egg laid on the first day of galius cannot be eaten on the second day. How do you understand the machlekes? Lema kasavar of Asi, perhaps Rav Asi holds kedusha achasi. The 2 days Yom Tov in Galus are considered one and the same entity, like one continuous zman of kedusha, and therefore the isra which was applied to the egg on the first day continues into the second day. There's no difference between the first and second day. It's one entity. It's one kedusha, one Yom Tov. That's how the Chacham established the 2 days Yom Tov in Chutz La'aretz. Whereas Rav held, no. It's only one day which is Kaddish. It's a suffix. I'm not sure which day. It could be the first, it could be the second, but only one of them is Kaddish. So in Manav Shach, you can eat the egg on the second day. Look, it was laid on the first day. If the first day is Kaddish, okay, so today you can't eat it, but the next day you could. Next day is no longer Yom Tov. If the first day was Chayil, so it was laid beyond Chayil, it's certainly Mutter. So according to Rav, there's no concern. Shnei Yom Tovim Shel Galius are a suffix. One is Kaddish, one is not. So either way you can have the egg on the second day. Perhaps Rav Asi holds Kedusha Achas. That the Chachamim, when they establish the concept of 2 days Yom Tov and Golus, sure, it was because of suffix, because those that are living far away from the Beis HaMikdash and the Bezin are not aware of the true day of Yom Tov until much later on. So therefore they have to adopt 2 days, misafik, out of uncertainty. But the Chachamim established it as though it's one continuous, uninterrupted Zman of Kedusha. Perhaps they didn't want you to take it lightly. They'll start thinking to yourself, well, it's only a suffix, today's a suffix, tomorrow's a suffix. You might not take Yom Tov seriously. So they wanted it to be a serious experience. True Yom Tov, both days are treated like one big Yom Tov. And therefore, when it comes to an egg, we can't differentiate between one and the other. So the egg that was laid on the first day is also on the first day and the second day. Is that so? Neima kasava Rav Asi, Kedusha Achasi, but it's not true. Rav Asi, we find that Rav Asi himself would make Havdalah after the first day of Yom Tov in Chutz La'aretz. Why? Rashi says because he he knew the way the calendar was meant to be established. He knew that really the first day, the true Yom Tov. So although he still observed 2 days Yom Tov, but it was a suffix, right? You're keeping the second day because of suffix, and he knew that the first day was the real one, so he would make Havdalah between number 1 and number 2. So he still kept the second day. It's minig aviseinu. We don't just drop the minig of 2 days, but he made Havdalah between day number 1 and number 2 because he knew that the real Yom Tov is the first day. But it's pretty clear from Rav Asi that it's not one continuous Kedusha, otherwise what's the point of Havdalah right in the middle? If that's the case, when the egg was laid on the first day, it should be mutter on the second day because one day is Yom Tov, one day isn't. It's a suffix. It's not one big Kedusha. Rav Asi sepuki mesapkali. Rav Asi had a suffix as to how to approach the concept of Shnei Yomim Tovim Shel Golius. Do we say one is Kodesh, one isn't? It's a suffix. In which case the egg would be mutter on the second day. In which case you have to make Havdalah between day 1 and day 2. Or was it established as one continuous, uninterrupted entity, Yoim Echad Aruch, one Kedusha Achas? In which case the egg is Asr all throughout both days, and therefore Va'avid Hacha L'Chumra, when it comes to Havdalah, he did L'Chumra. He made Havdalah, just in case it's really a suffix. V'Hacha L'Chumra, when it comes to the egg, he went L'Chumra, and he didn't allow you to eat the egg, just in case it's one continuous Yoim Echad Kedusha Achas. But Rab certainly held that it was established as a suffix. One day is Kodesh, one day isn't. So the egg laid on the first day is certainly mut on the second day, b'manavshach. So conclusion, we had several egg laying scenarios. A Beitzah Shnol de B'yantiv. So when would you like to consume this egg? On Yom Tov itself, by B'yoyim, machlokes, b'shamas say mutter, b'sil say asr. Okay, what about if you have Yom Tov next to a Shabbos, and you want to have that egg on the second day? Machlokes Rav and Rabbi Yehuda. Rav says it's asr on the second day. Why? Because when was it laid? On a Yom Kaddish. Food prepared on a Yom Kaddish is unfit for consumption on another Yom Kaddish. It was prepared improperly. That's the din of Achana de Rabbah. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold of Achana de Rabbah. The issue of the egg laid on Shabbos and Yom Tov is because of the other reasons, and that's only asr for that day. But on the following day, we proceeded with the Shnei Yomim Tovim Shel Golius. The egg was laid on the first day, can I be eaten on the second? Rav says, sure. The concept of 2 days Yom Tov Chutz La'aretz is a suffix on account of uncertainty. One is Kodesh, one isn't. So either way, you can have it on the second day. If yesterday was Kodesh, today isn't. If today is Kodesh and yesterday isn't, so it was laid on a weekday, it's certainly fine on the second day. Rav Asi says, no, it's us even on the second day. Rav Asi wasn't sure how to approach 2 days of Yom Tov in Golus. Do we say it's a suffix arrangement, like Rab, in which case the egg is mut on the second day? Or do we say perhaps no, it's one continuous Kedusha? Chacham established a 2-day unit, a 2-day Yom Tov, a Kedusha Achas of 2 days, in which case the Isra on the egg continues into the second day. Continues the Gemara. Amar Rav Asi. Now, before we continue, we're going to analyze the concept of the Shnei Yomim Tovim in Chutz La'aretz. Now let's just establish what's known. What's known is as follows. Of course, the background, the basis for Shnei Yomim Tovim in Chutz La'aretz is because of this suffix. Those living far away, at a distance from the Beis HaMikdash, we're not sure when Yom Tov was established, not sure when the month was established. So due to that uncertainty, they had to cover all possibilities. They had to keep 2 days. So that's Pashut. Now what else is known? What else is known is as follows. That even Bezman Hazeh, when we have the established calendar system, and Hillel HaZaken established for the entire Golus, and we're well aware of the various calculations, we're proficient with the calendar system. So we really know which day is really Rosh Chodesh, which day is really the Yom Tov. Even so, we keep 2 days. The Gemara tells us that's because of Hizaru b'minhag aviseichem. Minhag aviseinu yadeinu. We stick to the custom of our ancestors. The Gemara says perhaps one day will come, Chas v'Shalom, when the authorities won't allow us to delve into these inyanim and learn. We'll forget the system, in which case we'll go back to uncertainties. So, on that concern, based on that chashash, we keep 2 days, even today. So that's pashut. The instigator, the catalyst, was the suffix. At the end of the day, we still keep 2 days. There's one minor question here, as we just discussed. What is the gather? What were the guidelines established by the Chachamim when they instituted 2 days of Yom Tov because of the suffix? Did it remain as suffix? So technically, 1 day is Kodesh, 1 day is Chol, we just don't know which one, and we treat it as a suffix. That was Rav Shita. Or Rav Asi's approach was different. That perhaps Chacham didn't want you to take Yom Tov lightly. Suffix, no. We're giving you 2 days Yom Tov as though it's one single Zman, one single Kedusha Achas. It's like one continuous day. So it's just a question of perspective. And there are enough Kaminas La'alacha, as explained by the egg. So it's a question of how to approach, what gather, how do they characterize the 2 days of Yom Tov? Sure, the reason was suffix, but now that we have it, is it a suffix? 1 day is Chol, 1 day isn't? Or is it considered like one Kiddush? Amar B'Zeiruk of Aseder Rav Asi Mastavra. You know what? Rav Asi's approach seems to be the correct one, that the egg is Asr even the second day. It's one continuous Kedusha. Da'idna, because nowadays, Yadina B'Kiva Kviya D'Yarcha, we're well aware of the goings on with the calendar. We know how to establish the calendar properly. We know which day is really Rosh Chodesh, and still we stick to that. V'ka'avdina and Trei Yomi. And we keep 2 days. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the Chachamim, when they established the concept of 2 days, it was done with this mindset, that no matter what, no matter when, we want you to keep 2 days as though it's one Yom Tov. That's it. No tinkering. Irrelevant of your knowledge and your expertise, keep it 2 days. Abaye, Kavaseder of Rav Mestavra. I like Rav's approach. That seems to be the correct approach, that it's only a suffix. 1 day is Kodesh, 1 day is Chol. It's not. Initially, you know how they would get the word out? When Bezdin established today as Rosh Chodesh, how would they spread the word? They would light these fires, these signals over the mountains, and the word would spread very far, very quickly. And everybody would know that it's Rosh Chodesh today, and come Yom Tov, have to only keep 1 day. They know exactly what day of the month it is. What happened? When the Kusim interfered, they got in the way, they made trouble, and they actually lit their own fires. The wrong times, to mislead the communities. So they were interfering with the system. So they canceled that method. Rather they established, instead of fires, that the emissaries would go out and inform the communities, the outlying communities, living at a distance, that Rosh Chodesh was established on this and this day. Now the fact is that the shluchim would only get so far so fast. Meaning, whoever lived within 15 days of Yerushalayim will find that in time for Yom Tov, time for Pesach, time for Sukkot, and they'll keep 1 day. But people living farther out, past 15 days away, they couldn't rely on the shluchim who would arrive too late. They had to keep 2 days. So when they had the fires as signals, that spread really quickly, and everybody knew which day was Yom Tov. They only kept 1 day. But once they resorted to shluchim, so if you're beyond the reach of the shluchim, if you're more than 15 days away from Yerushalayim, you have to keep 2 days. Let's say the entire kutim situation disappears on us. We have no concern with the kusim, right? They stop making trouble. So what happens now? We can revert back to the old method of using fires. Avdin al chad yoma. So everybody now will keep only 1 day. So what do you see? That the 2 day system was only a temporary system based on uncertainties. It wasn't an absolute system. It wasn't established as a choy kavua, keep 2 days, it's one kedusha. No, it was just out of circumstance. When needed, was done. When unneeded, was revoked. Not only that, even today, meaning the time, this is even after the Mikdash, they used to actually use shluchim, that Sanhedrin, who would use the Edom to establish the months. So in any case, when they had that system going, even once they started using the shluchim, you know what? If you lived within 15 days of Yerushalayim, you can keep 1 day. It wasn't an absolute halacha that anybody outside Yisrael has to keep 2 days. No, it depends on the circumstance, depends on the need. If you have clarity, you're good. And if you lived within 15 days where the shluchim would reach you in time for Yom Tov, you still keep 1 day. So this is Abaye's proof. You see that it was all arbitrary. It was depending on the circumstance. There was no absolute established halacha. A takana l'doira is to keep 2 days, and it's one kedusha achas yom echad aruch. No, it was all based on sveikas and uncertainties. Whoever had the suffix kept 2 days. Whoever didn't have the suffix kept 1 day. The person who has the suffix today but not tomorrow will revert back to 1 day. It's all pending and circumstantial. It's a right to Rav that really 1 day is kaddish, 1 day isn't, and it's all a suffix. Concludes the Gemara. If so, if it's only a suffix, then how do you explain the fact that we still keep 2 days nowadays? Since we're well aware, we're fully versed with the calendar arrangements today. We know which days Rosh Chodesh, we know which days Rosh Hashanah, which days Pesach. Why do we keep 2 days? If it's based on suffix, we don't have a suffix. My time Abdina Trayomi, why do we keep 2 days? Their answer is, they sent a message from Eretz Yisrael. Listen, hold on to the custom of your ancestors. Keep the minhag avos. So although you're smart, but you know what? Let's hope it stays that way. Zimnin de Gazra Malchus Gezerah. Could so happen to be that the Malchus will decree a decree to stop learning, to stop calculating these cheshbonos, and you'll get all confused again. Vasal kalkule, and you might get confused and establish Yom Tov on the wrong day. Rashi says you might eat chametz on Pesach. So stay safe. Keep 2 days. This way you're covered, you're safe, you're secure. And that explains why even b'zman hazeh b'chutzlarts we still keep 2 days. Minhag aviseinu b'yadim. Okay, let's review today's daf briefly. We started with the Shittas Rabbi Lezer, who's not concerned about an egg laid on Yom Tov. Go ahead, eat it with its shell. So he was just bringing out his point, no concern whatsoever. What about in the following cases? An egg which was laid on Yom Tov. So eating it on its day, of course, is the machlokes b'sham b'sil. What about if it's Yom Tov followed by a Shabbos, and you want to eat it on the second day? Rav says it's aser, because it's prepared on the previous day, which is Yom Tov. It's mutter. There's no Isser V'achana. Isser is because of mashkin shazavu. It appears like juice flowing out of an apple. You might squeeze it. So the egg is utter on the day that it was laid, but not on the following day. What about 2 days of galios? Laid on the first day, can it be eaten on the second? Rav says certainly. Because the point of 2 days, Yom Tov and Chutz La'aretz, is on account of suffix. 1 day is Kodesh, 1 day isn't. So laid on the first, could certainly be eaten on the second day, Rasi said, I'm not sure really about that. Maybe it's a suffix, but maybe Chacham really established it as a long-term concept of Kedusha Achas. All throughout the Golos, treat 2 days Yom Tov as one continuous Kedusha Bevadai. And therefore the egg laid on the first day is still us on the second day. We discussed 2 more cases. Eitzim that came off the decal on Shabbos, come the next day, which is Yom Tov. He wants to use that, says Rabbi Yehuda. In this case, it's aser because it might create confusion. A person might think that it can be used on the first day as well. We learned about the eitzim that went straight into the stove. It can be mar ba'aleim eitzim muchanim b'mavatlet and use that firewood. Now we concluded with the sugi of Yom Tov Sheni. What instigated Yom Tov Sheni? The suffix. People living far away who are not sure when the Rosh Chodesh was established. The question is whether the Chacham went a step further and said, well, do 2 days Yom Tov and treat it as one continuous, uninterrupted Kedusha Achas. We have 2 shittas in the Gemara, whether it's a suffix or as a din of Vadai. Nafkamina was regarding the egg. The Gemara concludes, according to Oshit, it's B'zman Hazeh, even though we're fully aware, we're proficient with the goings-ons of the calendar, we keep the 2 days, Minhag Avosenu B'Yadeinu. Kol tov to you and much Hatzlacha.